we talked before offline. It's a bit of an anniversary for us.
Yeah, I guess we should talk about. There
Right?
we go. We could have done that.
Right?
Yeah. We're not going to release it
Celebrating
as an anniversary episode.
4 years.
4 years
of doing this.
Oh, and I would never celebrate with pumpkin.
Stand by. Going to air.
Stand by, Phil.
5,
Stand by music.
4,
Stand by announce.
3, 2, 1.
And fade up.
All aboard! And a name on the front is a hell of a lot more important than the one on the back.
Don't act like you're not impressed.
Turn to page 394.
How much you want to make a bet I can throw a football over the mountain?
That is so fetch.
Dodge, duck, dip, dive, and die.
The power of the sun in the palm of my hand.
Where's my super suit?
Hey, fat lard, come get some dinner.
Well,
I am not drinking any f***ing Merlot.
And I'm gonna try to forget the fact that you're a girl.
But dogs can look up.
Oh, durga.
you tell me what I saw this woman?
This is the Polar Express.
All right. Well, welcome, everyone, to a brand new episode of 20 Years, 4 Beers. We are a podcast dedicated to rewatching movies from at least 2 decades ago, while simultaneously enjoying a minimum of 4 modern beers. My name is Steve, and this is my big brother,
Tim.
And we are coming to you from Minneapolis, Minnesota. In this episode, we will be covering a film that we have maybe talked about at least a dozen times over the course of our 110-ish episodes, and always find ways to bring up in almost any movie we watch, and that is Paul Thomas Anderson's epic Magnolia. Before we start, though, we typically take a few moments to discuss any new movies or television that we have watched recently. Again, we did talk about this a little bit ahead of time, so we are planned, and I have one extra. So, Tim, our first movie, we'll start with the movie that we both watched, which was
Furiosa, Mad Max Saga. And came out recently on video. So, unfortunately, it was like one of those things like, oh, let's go to the theater. Didn't work out. It got really panned. Didn't do well.
It didn't do well.
Sorry, I should say
it
yes.
was praised.
Yes.
It didn't do well.
Sorry, yes. The budget or the box office wasn't very kind to it.
No.
Which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't pay for it at the time, whatever. Geez, Tim,
If
you didn't
only
help
people
this.
would have
I
seen
know.
this movie.
Gosh, right?
Like,
it's really, really good.
very well done.
I must say, when I first finished it, I don't know that I was struck by it.
No.
I was kind of like, okay, I see what they were going for.
Right.
With like the connection to Fury Road and the depth of her character. But then thinking about it, and then what it meant for her character arc to come later,
Right.
even though we saw it 10 years ago, it's just an incredible film. A great compendium prequel to Fury Road that I think watching it in the order, Fury Road first, is probably best.
I totally agree.
And then watch
I would not start.
It just
with
wouldn't resonate.
Furiosa. No.
Yeah, it was really, really good.
Yeah, and I think I'm the same way. I did not. It didn't resonate with me, but part of what turned me around was once I realized they were doing this in sections, in like parts.
Yes.
And each part was sort of unique of itself.
Yeah.
But you could tell they had a vision, and they were really trying to tell a story. Also trying to include humor, or at least as best they could in this world. Tie it into also the original Mad Max, because I think at one point they basically have an homage because he's up there. Max is up there with the little like lizard running around or whatever, and then they move on. So I mean, there's like little things where you sort of put it all on the timeline. But yeah, I think it was visually just as impressive.
Yes.
It isn't, you can't compare them, and I think that's a good thing, because the first Fury Road is just a ratcheted up to 10
visceral,
from the beginning, turn it up, like just sit back on the couch and you have your face melt away from the sound and everything else. Like it's just from 0 to 60 and then you just stay there.
Yep.
This is a story. They go out of the way to tell the story. It's pretty anticlimactic, actually, in a lot of ways.
Yes.
But Chris Hemsworth was freaking awesome in this.
He's so good.
I was annoyed with him a little bit at first, but I knew
Yes.
his voice. I knew his voice. The character was just really weird.
Yes.
But then the more the movie went on, the more I was like, dude, I freaking love this for him. And if it had done better at the box office, I think people are talking about him Oscar wise. I just
Maybe.
don't, it's just not. It'll be up for things because the visuals and the sound. It'll probably be up for 6 or 7.
Yeah.
But I just don't think it's going to get to the best picture kind of stuff. Although it's been a pretty weak year.
But they were very focused on making him not Chris Hemsworth.
Yes,
Like,
and he's
went-
not evil. I mean, he is evil, but he's not like, again, awkward, whatever that stupid
Mustache twirling. Yeah.
like his mustache.
It makes
is weird.
sense.
But
What he's doing,
so
yeah.
good.
Yes. I do think they did a little bit too much with CGI. That took out the experience of
Yes.
like the tactile
Yes,
stuff.
there are
Like, there were-
definitely some things with
I was like,
with people. But again, then you're on this road with this random new dude that is actually, I like their little relationship they got going.
Yeah,
The new driver or
Praetorian
whatever.
Jack.
You know, he's really good.
Yes.
But that again, you got that entire journey of those battles on the road are just
Yes.
over the top impressive.
Yeah, it kicked in about an hour in where I was like, now I'm invested. For me, like the first hour was like, okay, I'm enjoying it, but then once he comes in,
Yeah.
and the two of them have their connection, so yeah, I was very,
Yeah,
very impressed
I
with
mean,
it.
I like being able to recommend it for different reasons.
Yeah,
Like, so if people were a little put off on the overaction and the too much in the first one, I can be like, well, it's in here, but it's probably only about half the movie at most.
totally.
Really well done.
Very good.
So then, by the way, if anyone does hear them in the background, there are Tim's
Some
and my
children
kids are playing upstairs.
playing Super Smash
Bros. Or whatever. So if you do hear screaming and banging in the background, I promise you they're safe. The second thing we both watched recently was
The Boys, Amazon's The Boys, season 4.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta say, I'm no longer that interested in it.
If they do what they need to do and say that season 5 is it,
Yes,
I will watch it again.
yes.
If they renew it or say it's going to go past season 5, I don't think I'm going
It's
to
just-
watch another one.
It's like diminishing returns.
Yeah.
I loved the first 2 seasons. The third was fine enough.
I like 3.
Yeah,
but
like it
4
wasn't-
definitely dropped.
Man, I dragged to get through. And it's a weird thing. It's what I thought the show was so great at doing the first 2 seasons was being very bold in the satire, but it never
Right.
felt too close to our world. This season, I think they, to their detriment, had it be so closely related to, like, it just became almost too on the nose for the satire. Like to even mention AOC or Rick Santorum, like
Yeah.
they introduce
Yep.
or they make reference to characters in our world. And I was like, no. You don't do that.
Yeah.
Like that to me was a big problem, where it should be satire. It's unto itself. It's not part of our world, but it's a world of superheroes. Like,
Yeah.
why would you mention AOC?
Yeah, it
was
feels,
just like-
it felt very forced politically,
Yes.
knowing it was going to be in a election year.
Yes,
Maybe.
and Carl Urban is still incredible
Yes,
as Billy.
Yes, again,
like
speaking of
through no fault.
Yep, the personality stuff like does a great
Yes.
job. I mean, yes,
But his character-
the other character, but yeah,
I'm done with him. Like,
Yeah.
where it went, like the whole like Venom inside, like this. Now he's a super. I was like, anyway. So I also didn't like Huey, and then falling for the shapeshifter, and then she was pissed at him for that. And it's like, I thought it was you.
we
Like,
live in a world of superheroes. You should have a little more understanding
yes,
of.
like it felt so forced.
Yeah, I agree. I finished it. I liked
Yes.
some things about it.
Yes.
I thought it paid off in terms of what they were trying to do in the end,
Yeah,
but it has to end after 5. And I think even guy who plays Homelander has said like he wants it to end after 5. I
Yeah.
think it just it has to be done unless they go back to being a little more lighthearted and fun.
yes,
This was just way more heavy.
Yeah.
And much more like, you know, hammer, nail, just
yes,
like
over the
ugh,
top.
over
We
the
get
top.
it. So yeah,
Did
hard
you have
pass.
any others?
No, that's it.
The only one I'll mention is because it's super huge right now this week, and this won't get released for another probably 5 weeks, this episode, or 3 weeks. Nobody Wants This, the television show on Netflix,
Yeah,
is, I think, outstanding. I watched the first 2 episodes, and I think Andrea and I were talking about it, and I was like, it's got a really good start, and you know, I mean, it's, you know, we'll see where it goes. Let's not compare it to the Ted Lassos of the world, but from a first season
unfair.
standpoint, because outside of your two main characters, there's not a lot of depth to the other characters. They get there. You do get to know them a little bit. There's not a lot of extra depth to those characters.
Okay.
But your two mains are great. They have good chemistry together. The story's good. You can tell that they went out of their way to be positive for the most part. Like, yes, this is a real world thing, and a rabbi has a real world problem of having a shiksa girlfriend, and like, really kind of funny. And also you can tell people involved knew what they were talking about.
Sure.
Like whether it's Steve Levitan from Modern Family is a producer. I don't know that much about the creator of this. Greg Mottola is a producer on it, and he directed a couple episodes. So like there's really good comic notes. The siblings are funny, but not like forced. Like you know how sometimes you toe that line of, oh God, if you go down this path, it's going to be weird.
Yeah.
And then they kind of go away from it. You know what I mean? And I think that's where Lasso and Shrinking and some of those have done that, where you think like, oh God, are Ted and Rebecca going to get together here or whatever, you know? So same kind of thing. I would recommend it. It's 10 episodes. I ended up watching the first 2, and then I finished the next 8 on a Saturday. Like I just totally finished it, and I wanted more. And,
nice.
I think Kristen Bell can be really funny. It's the Adam Brody Renaissance I think people have been waiting for, other than the OC fans. So really, really good.
Cool.
All right. Well, as mentioned, we are going to rewatch Magnolia. The film tells a series of intertwining stories over the course of a single day in Los Angeles. All of our characters are flawed at best, but all of them are searching for love, forgiveness, meaning in life, or even just a connection with another person. Magnolia is hard to define and even harder to write a description for, but what is certain is that it sticks with you for a very long time after. It's kind of like sleeping with me. The film is written and directed by Paul Thomas Anderson and stars Tom Cruise, Jason Robards, Julianne Moore, Philip Seymour Hoffman, John C. Reilly, Philip Baker Hall, Jeremy Blackman, William H. Macy, Alfred Molina, April Grace, Ricky Jay, and Melinda Dillon. Yikes.
Jeez.
If you guys were the inventors of Facebook, you'd have invented Facebook.
This is a social network.
You don't have to be an intellectual property expert to understand the difference between right and wrong.
Where we take a look back at the critical and fan reception from 2 decades ago.
Mark!
As usual, Tim takes point on this, so take it away, Tim.
You better lawyer up, asshole, because I'm not coming back for 30%. I'm coming back for everything. $1 billion.
The IMDb rating is 8 out of 10. A little low for me, but that's fine.
But if you consider, what was in it, 6.6 for The Village or whatever? Like,
yeah.
I kind of feel like 8
true.
is actually pretty solid considering how kind of weird this movie is.
I'll give you that. Andrew O'Hagan of the Daily Telegraph said, Magnolia is a plea for kindness, especially between parents and children. It's a rare movie appealing to the emotional heart rather than the logical brain, and there's true greatness here. Mike Clark of USA Today said the most imperfect of the year's best movies, Magnolia's flaws are easily forgiven because they are the result of go-for-broke ambition. Roger Ebert, give it 4 out of 4.
Yeah, I think I remember him loving this one.
Said, Magnolia is bold in its ambition, a great, joyous leap into melodrama and coincidence with ragged emotions, crimes and punishments, deathbed scenes, romantic dreams, generational turmoil, and celestial intervention, all scored to insistent music. Leave logic at the door. Do not expect subdued taste and restraint, but instead a kind of operatic ecstasy. Academy Awards that year, it was up for 3 nominations for Original Screenplay, Original Song, and Best Supporting Actor for Tom Cruise.
So before we even rewatch this, I guess I'm going to preemptively say this to our listeners. Just get ready.
It's going to be
just get ready for gushing about this movie. Then we go into Fight Club. Then we go into Green Mile. So if you're looking for complaints like we sometimes have had, listen, give us the like and a follow or something like that, but you might want to move on to a different episode. But anyway, there we go. We are going to pause and rewatch the movie. If you are so inclined, go right ahead and watch along with us. If not, we will see you on the other side of this break. Here now is Magnolia.
Welcome back from the break. How'd you guys like those nachos? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, you are not here for the fucking food. You are here for me to enlighten you, to edify you, to send you off into the now not so unknown future. So come along with me. How to fake like you are nice and caring. No, I don't want a microphone. Now this is quite an important chapter, as you will see. But let's get down to brass tacks. Let's get right down to it, boys. Let's get right down to it. Men are shit. What? Men are shit. Well, isn't that what they say? Isn't that what, because we do bad things, don't we? We do horrible, heinous, terrible things. Things that no woman would ever do. So women, they don't lie. No, women don't cheat. Women don't manipulate us. But you see what I'm getting at? Oh yeah, you see what I'm getting at. You see what society does? Boy, little boys, it's woman. Yeah, we are taught to apologize. I am sorry.
Give it up.
I'm so sorry, baby. I am so sorry. What is it? Huh? Is it their pussies, their love? Yeah, mommy wouldn't let me play soccer, and daddy, he hit me. So that's who I am. That's why I do what I do. Fucking bullshit. I will not apologize for who I am. I will not apologize for what I need. I will not apologize for what I want.
We begin our discussion with our reaction segment that we call Spotlight.
This is Boston, and the church does not want them to be found. So, they are not there.
This is where we highlight and discuss our top takeaways of any kind from rewatching our subject film.
We've got two stories here. We've got a story about degenerate clergy, and we've got a story about a bunch of lawyers turning child abuse into a cottage industry.
If there were 90 of these bastards, people would know.
Maybe they do.
This is Spotlight.
They knew, and they let it happen.
All right, well, welcome back to 20 Years, 4 Beers, where we have just finished rewatching Magnolia, and also have had 4 new beers that we will review in a segment coming up, excluding, but also the return of a long dormant segment called Strange Brew. But first, we talk about our immediate reactions in this Spotlight segment. Tim, what do you got? Right, I mean, it's just
So this came out, but it was January of my sophomore year, where I was home for J-term.
Yep.
So, and I saw it on a Friday night by myself, and I remember seeing you the day after, like, we are going to this
I do remember that.
tonight. I was blown away by this because I heard good things and it's all the rage, so had to check it out. And it's still one of my favorite experiences of I think I'd seen Boogie Nights, Paul Thomas Anderson's second
Andre
movie.
and I saw that in the theater, actually.
Yikes.
I know, right? It's like,
that's
big dog,
dog.
Oh,
Sister. Gosh.
Oh god, yeah.
I think I'd seen it on the VHS or whatever, and I was always kind of meh. It was fine. I didn't see the praise around it. It was really more like Marky Mark's got a big old hog, but it just didn't. The story didn't connect with me. I didn't find it interesting, but I knew that he was a talented director. So let's go see this. Saw it, and it was we are going again. And within 24 hours, seeing it twice, was blown away by it. And when we introduced movies like this that were beyond the 20 years format, like what I think LA Confidential was our first one.
Yeah.
There was always this like, we're going to get around to Magnolia. And I'm so effing happy we watched it. It's just incredible. Just incredible. And I have a few chicken scratch notes. So a lot of it's going to be extemporaneous as we talk through it. I just didn't want to like take notes. It's the rare experience watching a movie where I just love the totality of it. So I just was thinking about watching it of when it first came out, being blown away by it. And it's been probably 10 years since I've watched it.
Yeah.
And dear God, it holds up.
Yeah.
And then some. I've got a lot of great thoughts about it, but at least thoughts about, well, I wouldn't say my thoughts are great.
Yeah.
Thoughts about how great it is.
Here,
Yes. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Just flat out incredible.
I guess I haven't watched it in a few years. I was about to with an ex of mine, and then it just sort of fell through.
Sure.
You know? It just sort of was like, and I just never got back around to it, you know, because a movie like this, as much as I enjoy it and we enjoy it, it isn't one that you can just sort of like put on in the background.
Yeah. You're not like, you know what I'm in the mood for?
Right.
Magnolia.
Right. Like I recently rewatched the Big Short.
Sure.
And I love that movie. And I can have that movie on the background or that kind of stuff. And it's just, that's the kind of movie that, you know, that was 2.5 hours. It's really big. There's a lot going on. I can still have it on the background. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
A movie like this, no. You just can't do it. You gotta devote, you know, and you can't do this in multiple settings. You can't like cut it halfway through. I mean, you have to let it sort of wash over you, as it were.
Yeah, like the totality of it. You can't have like a background thing.
I do have some notes. I mean, I guess we'll be a little extemporaneous, or whatever you said.
Extemporaneous?
Yeah. Man, I guess just ensemble films are just not simply not done like this.
No.
At least not on this sort of grand, ambitious scale.
Sure.
The only person even kind of doing it now is Wes Anderson.
Sure.
You know, and back then, to be fair.
Yeah.
But really not on that same sort of ambitious level. I think Wes writes ensemble pieces and famous people sign up for it.
Correct.
And I think that, and that's not a detriment by any means, because it's still good, it's enjoyable.
Yeah.
But to be able to balance the stories of what I mean, you kind of think like maybe there's 12-ish main characters, you know? To be able to balance that, the connections between everyone, like just, boy, it's something special. Like this kind of ensemble drama, because even Boogie Nights, is as impressive as it was a story with Dirk Diggler as at the center.
Yes.
And then everyone else was around him.
Correct.
And even later on with There Will Be Blood and other although There Will Be Blood isn't an ensemble piece, but like there was central characters. Punch Drunk Love we already covered.
Yep.
But with everyone around, there's no central character.
No.
There's no main character. I mean, there's obviously a standout, but like
sure.
Yeah, it's just like to be able to sit down and write this kind of balanced, nuanced story with, I mean, this many characters is so impressive.
And I think, you know, we talked about other episodes before where, you know, movies get derided for like being too long or too short, or like there's always like, oh, it's too long, and it's, you know, 3 hours. It's 3 hours long, but it demands that you pay attention and go along for the ride, where you're right, like Boogie Nights was very well made, and it was like, oh, this guy is going to be a great, like you could see the potential of what could come thereafter. But it was, yes, one main character's story through this crazy world of the porn industry of the 70s, like insanity, and into the 80s. This was, let's take a, like, you know, a scattershot approach to 10, 12 people as they navigate one day in the San Fernando Valley.
Hey, somebody looked at IMDb.
Yeah, you know, LA area. But I think what really is an amazing, like, bold choice is the introduction. So they have this whole huge, you know, story thereafter. But we're going to start again, great. These old stories of these weird coincidences.
Yeah. Three separate coincidences. Yep.
And that's why I just love the difference of this movie, where it's not just, we're going to tell some random stories to people. We're going to set the stage right away.
Sure.
So it's almost like priming the pump. Here's the theme, which is a pretty bold choice to not have it be this like after effect. It's like right away, we're telling a story in which what appears to be coincidence is not. There's connections. There is, a through line through all this.
Yeah.
And it's like,
and the through line is, I don't even know.
No,
but there is one. Like,
but we'll come to
connect.
Yes,
but what is the through line? Like,
which is the genius of this?
Yeah.
It's like almost like you make it of it what you will. But we'll have the starting, and then we're going to start with. I love the story's opening sequence of One is the Loneliest Number.
Yep.
It is chaotic. It is focused, which is weird to say. Like, it seems like an oxymoron, but it's crazy. It's all over the map, and yet you have an introduction to these disparate characters in a 6-minute segment, maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah, it was 5 minutes for the opening sort of old ones, and then another
the new one,
5-ish
and
minutes.
then here we go.
Yeah,
and I just think it's such a bold choice by P.T. Anderson to say, "Buckle up, it's going to make maybe Paul Thomas."
Yeah. P.T. Anderson
is like
a different person.
Yeah,
he's the director of like the Resident Evil.
There
franchise.
you go. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. PTA, I'll call him.
Yeah,
for the sake of just brevity, but. I think amazing choice to set the stage for here's the theme, and then we're going to show a similar version of chaos, and yet there's going to be some connection. Just please be patient, and it pays off.
Yeah. It asks something of you as a viewer for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Boy, I mean, I said it just before the break, but it is like. I have to bring myself back from talking too
like aggrandizing it too much.
Yeah,
yes.
I just. So,
it's okay.
I mean, in
it's
my notes, it was kind of like I tried to keep it simple. So, one thing that struck me, and we've talked about in the past, but like, if you're gonna have a chaotic and like if you're gonna have a story about this many people, a very chaotic back and forth, random ass things happening all the time.
Yep.
Man, like shout out to the editors of this movie,
right?
Or editor and assistants or whatever, to go back and forth coherently between them. And yes, we understand that there are, at one point it's here and maybe this happened a little bit earlier, but whatever. But you're jumping back between these storylines.
It's close enough.
And I'm never personally, now we've watched it multiple times, but even on first watch, I'm never confused about where we're at in this storyline and what's happening here. And it just, just enough about this person, then you jump back in. Because even like when they break away from Cruz's performance at the bed, which is really heartbreaking, I kind of wish they don't. But then you also have to remember, you have the frogs coming soon, so you got to really. You got to get there. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it is kind of like the editors make a good choice there. So really, really, really powerful editing. Let's just start there. Just like the foundation of this.
Yes.
We know it's a good screenplay. It was up for an Oscar. I guess arguably should have won. I don't know what won original screenplay that year.
American Beauty.
Okay. This is better. From a screenplay standpoint. Yeah, it's better. I mean, I'll give you a picture over, whatever, but
sure.
This is a more original screenplay. This is in line with like when Pulp Fiction wins in '94 and kind of like comes out of nowhere.
Yes.
The only thing this doesn't have is the sort of like pop culture moment around it to really boost it over the top of this like studio film.
Yep.
This is such a better screenplay.
I agree.
Come on. I mean,
I agree.
So, but yeah, shout out to the editors on this one.
And we've seen plenty of movies where you get confused, like what is happening, where are these characters, what's connecting them, and to maintain within a day, here are the disparate 12 characters, but you never lose your footing. as a audience member.
Right. Yeah.
Which is, again, I agree, a testament to editor. One thing that similar to that is, and it's, again, a thing we always talk about is the score. So John Bryan, who we've talked about.
I have him on my list. I assumed it would be later.
Oh no. I'm like, because I paused it when it kicked in because it's 42 minutes in. This movie does not have any score because it's like the Amy Mann stuff.
Sure.
And it's just kind of like, I should say it has atmospheric score.
Yeah.
But it's not
in terms of a theme or,
No, it's when John C. Reilly's character talks to the young boy. And he's like, I just told you what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You didn't pay attention. Mm. And he drives away. And that's when it kicks in.
Sure.
And it has a tonal and yet like, just a shift. Yeah. And I love that it changes the whole feeling of the movie. And John Bryan does weird music. I mean, he does like Fiona Apple. It's like a very atmospheric, odd stuff. Yeah. But this was a difference in kind, where this was that, to Ebert's detail before, operatic nature. Like the score is amazing and it's gorgeous and it just drives the story.
Yeah, it advances the story. Yep.
It's like it's a weird like 13th character to this where it feels it moves it forward. So I agree, like screenplay, editing, all the performances, and then the score kicks in and it drives everything forward. And I think that's why it stood out to me watching it long ago, was I was just caught up in the totality of the experience. But yeah, his score is incredible.
Yeah, I mean, coming off of that, I think you do say it takes long enough for the score, the themes and what you want to do from a music standpoint to kick in, that by then I'm 45 minutes in, I'm kind of like, either you're in or you're not. Like either you've bought into these characters and where this is going or you're not. And what happens is it starts to drive the story at that point, and you start to really feel pulled along with these characters, and you really feel like I'm kind of rolling down the hill with you. Like like the ball is rolling. You've brought me here, and each music choice along the way by Bryan, and then by Amy Mann, or well, I guess by whoever puts that song there. But then the use of the Amy Mann songs along the way, like you just sort of keep getting pulled in and pulled in and pulled in. And the score is it's operatic, sure, but it's not like forceful. It's not bringing me along. It's not telling me what to feel. It also stands out almost purposely. Like this is not a traditional movie score.
No.
This is so odd.
Yep.
Like, yeah, it feels like Bjork should have this on their album or whatever. And you're like, this is so weird.
Yes.
But it fits so perfectly because the story is weird.
Yes.
So I have that too. That was one of my points, was just like the music as a whole is not only great, if you want to be a very basic description of it, it's used exactly how it should be.
Sure.
Like it drives the story to the point where you have a musical number in between. Like it just, the music is a character. We've said that many times before. I think we said it the last couple of times, but it really is more about driving the characters to where they're going. The music is outstanding.
And I think that juxtaposes with the choice to have Amy Mann pretty much they have like pop hits throughout.
Yeah, a couple, yeah.
But movie-specific songs are from Amy Mann.
Right.
And I love that choice where this is going to be kind of our steward of this vibe or the feeling we want to go with, and not use pop songs to be the kind of proxy for this. And I didn't make a note to a crazy bold choice of about 2 hours in, we're going to have all the main characters sing along with this song.
Stop where they're at.
Yes. Yep. We're going to have a moment of like just, reverence, and we're going to have them sing to this. And it doesn't feel absurd.
No.
That's
in fact, it feels earned.
Yes.
And the Wise Up song is so good.
Yes. Like it, all the again, from a through line is, it's these people grappling with their trauma and the baggage and the shit that's been placed upon them, or maybe idealistic, that they have visions of what it could be. And it's just this song being like, wise up, it's beautiful, but it would fall, I think, apart in different like settings or movies. But this totally works. Where I remember in the theater, like, they're having these people sing this song, which could feel like it's a pop song that in this moment in time, they all just happen to have it on, or whatever, again, the connecting element is, but it's earned. Absolutely earned.
Do you know the origin behind that song?
No.
Sweet. Trivia. All right, good.
Ooh,
I was going to go into it now.
No,
later.
Yeah,
cool.
No.
Sort of off of that, I think the use of silence in this film is actually even more impressive because there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of things going on.
Yes.
But then moments like the rap song with the kid.
Yep.
When the two of them are at dinner talking about the TM, or not dinner, when she's sitting down at the coffee talking about TMJ, all of a sudden there's no score in the background.
Just rain. Yes.
Yeah. There's just all of a sudden there's like silence. There's a lot less sound. And it's not that those scenes are the most important scenes, but it is obvious that they want to call them out.
And like Stanley's breakdown.
Yeah.
The whiz kid. Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
There's no music there. So why? I guess I don't have to ask why, but clearly they want to know, like, we want your focus to be on not the experience as a whole, not what's going on, this moment that's happening right in front of you.
Yes.
The lack of music and sound is actually a really impressive decision.
And that's what I think about when people say ambition of movies, and it was some of the reviews, but other things, it's hard to encapsulate, like, what would an ambitious effort be? This, to me, is exactly that. Where you talk about, I've got a plan, I've got a screenplay, the choices of song, and then by building the atmosphere, when I take that away, I need that's I'm actually calling more attention to it, because I feel like movie scores are designed to be manipulative.
Oh yeah, by definition, yeah.
Like they
by design.
Yes, but by taking them away, it's almost this absence of pay the fuck attention to this.
Yeah.
And it is so, like, that's where I feel like Paul Thomas Anderson is wanting the audience to be like, this is where I want you to really pay attention. The other stuff is great together, it moves it forward, but please, right now is what I want you to focus on.
Right.
And I agree. Like the sound choices, it's or lack thereof to move it away. It's great. Speaking of ambition, we were talking about it as we we're going along. Again, 3 hours. I forget how many one take, or at least oneers.
The oneers, man,
there are. It's unreal.
And it's not even it's oneers, but especially the one going through the studio. It's oneers that have 10 different points of view, like points of perspective.
It's shifting,
I'm following
moving
this person,
around.
I'm following this person. I'm re-following this person.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very clear. The choreography of that is really impressive.
The long takes
Yep.
of what he wants to focus on. And yes, it could shift from character to character or moving things around.
Right, yeah.
It just, like, again, sets this movie apart. And I think he had tried a bunch of that. I think back to some of the scenes in Boogie Nights.
There's some. Yeah, there's especially going through the clubs. And
yes.
Yep, there's definitely some.
But this felt like, again, an elevation of the ability and the talent.
Yeah, but there's an ability to do it and a reason to do it. And those are two separate things. Like, just because you can do it, sure, cool.
Yeah.
But why? Like, are you doing it from a technical standpoint, or are you doing it to drive the story? And at Boogie Nights, it felt like going to the club. It was really kind of cool.
Yes.
It was spectacle because we can do it. You're going through office hallways here. What's the purpose of this? Like, why? But it really draws you into what's going on right now at some office building in California.
Burbank,
like,
whatever,
you just don't care. So the why matters almost more than the how.
And like the one take or longer take of the cop and the woman talking in her apartment.
Yeah.
They were just set the camera here.
Yeah.
And what I love is the slow pans in, where it's just like, I'm not just going to be boring and sit here while the audience or the actors, almost like a play, we're going to slowly move in and keep your engagement. It's just incredible.
Yeah.
Again, execution across every aspect is unparalleled.
Yeah, including performances.
Should we talk about him?
I want to just sort of lead into him and just say, like, I think sometimes a movie comes along where everyone involved is great because of, like, who's creating this. So Spielberg, we've talked about in the past, Scorsese, like, I'm on this movie, and so I have to be good.
Yes.
Everyone sort of feels that obligation. And then I think there's a movie that, like this, that everyone feels like they have to be, they're on their best game because the material is just that good.
Yes.
And I think that's where we're at here. I think you have a lot of people, including at the time, one of the top 3 or 4 movie stars in the world.
Sure.
In a very anti or off.
Yes. Not their brand.
Yeah. Off brand character in Tom Cruise, who we'll talk about here in a second. Before we talk about Cruise, for me, I don't know why, as I've gotten sort of older and watched this, Jason Robards just kills it.
Yes.
In effectively one scene.
Yes.
He mumbles throughout a lot, and he kind of has some things, and he has got an early interaction with Phil, but just the goddamn regret scene.
Yes.
That whole thing, Robards kills it.
Yes.
Everyone is great. Everyone's great. There's not a bad performance. I will say, I think Julianne Moore is a little bit over the top in some scenes.
Correct.
I think she's, to me,
yes,
the quibble I would have.
have some notes. Yes.
I'd be like, okay, all right, let's bring this down, soap opera queen. But aside from that, everyone's great. Robards is outstanding, but I
and
take that, and then we can move on to you.
Yes, so we're gonna play with it. I agree. Robards is just, sitting in a bed the entire time, and has such weight, and
So he's 64 in that bed.
Yeah.
That's like 4 years older than Kamala Harris. That's sort of, I get he's got cancer and stuff, but
sure.
Oh,
and he's lived a life.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what I love about his and other, like John C. Reilly's character has it too, is they take a character's voiceover.
Yeah.
And they play it out over other scenes.
Oh, multiple other scenes. Right. Yeah.
And that's what I think is, again, quality to the writing and the execution of it, where it could just be focusing on Robards' character.
Right.
As he's dying. And yes, the goddamn regret and just, life, like you live it and appreciate it and love it. It's terrible and all these great things.
Yeah.
But it plays out over other scenes.
Yeah.
To lend weight to those scenes, that the connective tissue. And I would say that I find Julianne Moore, I will say when I first saw it, I remember being she's so insufferable.
Mm-hmm.
I can't stand her. But I've come to appreciate her performance in it through the lens of she went to this, she's the terrible human being that went for this guy for money. And now has to grapple with, she actually appreciates him and loves him. I don't know that I feel she delivers in every scene.
Mm-hmm.
Like the pharmacy scene.
Yep.
Is a bit too I'm an actress.
Yes.
It's the most jarring.
That's the one performance
watching
that feels forced.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I feel like you could have found someone that, everybody else feels authentic and earned, even though William H. Macy, I know what he's done in Fargo, and but he still feels earned and it just makes sense. I agree. She's the only quibble I have with this movie. Through nothing else of the writing, I think it's just her delivery of it feels actory.
Yeah, it almost feels that character would be angry, and confused for sure.
Yeah,
but it's just a little over the top emotionally. The anger is there, I get it. The confusion of loving this person, but now they're but I appreciate. It's hard because you have to also give that backstory of her being a gold digger, and now she's not trying to be one.
Yes,
but yeah, it's out of place to a certain extent from a melodramatic standpoint.
I agree. It keeps the movie from being perfect, in my estimation, only as much as
yeah, I have a 5 out of 5 later, but
sure. But as far as
that doesn't mean it. Yes, even 5 out of 5 movies can have something they can improve on.
True, I give you that. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Mr. Cruise.
Yeah, let's get the sucky here out of the way because it is.
So that year,
it's unprecedented. It's so. The number of people who I know who have not seen this movie,
right,
to not even be able to understand
It's unreal
about his performance. But go ahead, that year.
So that year, Jude Law.
It was a good year for supporting
actor.
Yep,
was incredible.
Yep.
And we'll talk about Green Mile later. But Haley Joel Osment for Sixth Sense, incredible.
Sure, yeah.
Michael Caine for Cider House Rules, solid.
Sure.
Jude Law for Talented Mr. Ripley, fine.
Yeah, solid. Yeah.
Michael Clark Duncan, Green Mile, I got a lot of thoughts on him.
Very good. Yeah,
The fact that Michael Caine, one of that group, is a fucking travesty.
Yeah, he's the fourth best on that list.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Jude Law was good, but he'd be 5.
Yeah, he'd be 5.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
Haley ahead of him, and then you got Michael Clark, and then Tom Cruise. He's like leaps and bounds ahead of everybody else on that
Say
list.
what you will about like whatever he does, and like
he hadn't jumped on any couches at this point.
Pre-couch jumping, yes. But when this came out, was like he has to win. He's so, and watching it now, like he's so the deathbed scene. I mean, his like Frank Mackey.
The early part is so. What it reminded me of is Tropic Thunder.
Yes,
like it'd be the funny.
Yes,
like he's the funny. It's the antithesis of what you think he is. You know, in Tropic Thunder, he was almost nominated. He was up for a Golden Globe for that, but he wasn't up for an Oscar, which is the right move.
Yes,
but like, yeah, he's anti what you. It's just sort of like anti what you're used to here.
And then,
but the shift
when he's being interviewed.
Yep.
And you know his whole facade that he's built of this like power dynamic. I got everything figured out.
Yeah.
And his again, I'm silently judging you.
Yeah.
It's one of my all-time favorite lines.
Yep.
Of just seeing him in real time just crumble.
Yeah.
From this woman's amazing. Yes. Like I'm gonna parry what you're saying, and I'm gonna give you like, why would you lie about these things? Like your mom died, your dad's still alive, all these things. And it's just off the rails.
Like, you're saying your mom's alive and your dad's dead. But in reality, your dad's alive and your mom's dead. And you're just like,
yes.
Like, why are you lying about it?
So then when he arrives at Earl's place and has that catharsis, like, I don't know how you can, like, again, they're all playing. It's fun. But I don't know how you connect as an actor to like when he's so irate and broken in that scene. It's unreal what he accomplishes. And it's like, how the fuck did they give the award to Michael Caine?
I mean, I understand they took a vote and then but Caine had already won for Hannah and Her Sisters, and I think people had thought it would be his last sort of like hurrah.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I don't think Tom Cruise is as popular. I mean, he is popular in Hollywood, but I think people didn't love like him. I don't know. I don't know. Looking back, I don't want to excuse it away because, in my opinion, it's the third most offensive loss in Oscars history behind Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah,
and I think Brokeback Mountain losing to Crash. And then this.
Yeah,
it's the number one acting. Fail
absurdity
ever. I mean, like, you know, like there's been some acting performances that have won.
Yeah,
like what's his face from Marty.
Oh gosh, it's a deep cut way back then.
Anyway, it doesn't mean like there's just actors who have won. And you're like, really?
Yeah.
What is this? This is BS. And they beat out legitimately great people. I think Marty. I think he beat one of the Godfather guys that year. I can't remember, but it doesn't matter. Off topic.
Yeah.
But who you beat matters.
Yes.
And the extent of Cruise's performance here is just. I mean, you watch Cider House Rules and you're like, okay, that's a fine movie.
Yes.
Whatever, Lasse Hallström, you did a good job. It's a sweet movie. But Michael Caine does nothing with that role.
No.
Like
he's the same character throughout. And that's my problem.
No arc. There's
no arc. There's no gravitas to it or weight. It's just like you are just the owner and runner of like this place. Fine. And I like that movie a lot. Yeah. But it's not
fine.
What this is.
No.
Like you cannot take your eyes off of him.
No.
And the ending of it, I just
he's
Tom
the best
Cruise,
part of this movie, and it's got great parts.
Yes.
Like
it's so good.
Oh God. I can't even. It is so. I think I would think I mentioned it with one of the Tarantino movies, I think, like, it makes me not want to write. Like, I wanted to be a writer. And, like, if I were an actor, I'd watch that performance and be like, well, I've been found wanting, and I will never accomplish anything close to this. You know, it's beyond comparison.
Yes.
It's just stop it. Like, it is what I remember this film for most, I should say. And the deathbed scene lives rent free in my head. Like, it absolutely just sits there.
It's so good.
Yep. I have one other thing. What do you got?
Should we talk about the frogs?
We can. Yeah. What do you got?
So
you're the Bible expert. What do you got?
Listen, we're both PKs, but whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
One of us in name only, but all right.
Yeah,
cool.
exactly. Yeah.
Right. I've read that book.
I've dabbled. I still remember watching or seeing in the theater and having the Exodus 8 verse 2 or whatever.
Yep.
2.
Yep.
Like, I remember being like, what are they, like, what's this about? But you move on because it's just like, I'm compelled on what the story is.
Yeah. But you only see Exodus 8-2 a couple times.
Yes.
Yeah.
Until it happens.
Yeah. You see Exodus 8-2 in real life.
Right there. And again, when we speak of ambition, like, how do you come up with that?
Yeah.
I'm going to have this connected story and be compelling and heartbreaking and just so many aspects of how I think it's an amazing movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to add in a freaking frog rainfall, which is so absurd.
Yeah.
And yet it totally works.
It does.
It doesn't feel like it's like, this is stupid or it isn't, again, earned. It absolutely works for this. And I think it makes it going, it elevates it from just a great story to like a, no pun intended, like a biblical type of, we are now having a next level story.
Yeah.
And so I just think it's so stupid and wonderful.
Yeah.
It could have been like great 2.5 hours and then it goes off the rails.
Yeah.
And it's stupid.
Yeah.
But it totally effing works.
Which I hear is like what Joker Faliado does.
I haven't heard it.
Do you know the 82 connect? Did you see the 8-2 connections throughout the movie? Did you catch them?
There was like at the beginning of the movie with like
when he's on
the
roof.
suicide thing, like 8-2.
He's got 8-2 there.
Yes.
Yeah, and you've got there's on the roof at the beginning. There's 82 in the phone numbers that are there's 8-2 in a lot of the phone numbers.
Okay.
There's 8-2 in Marcy's prisoner number. It's 82000828000. Like it's
oh my
there.
God.
The number of the plane that swoops in and picks up what's his face is 82.
Yes.
82. There's an 82% chance of rain. Early on, right away at the beginning.
I had never put that together.
It's 82% chance of rain.
Shut up.
Multiple times there's 8:20 on clocks.
Sure.
They go out of their way to have 8 and 2 next to each other in many many different places. Like, so they're just giving you outright hints along the ways, and then you have Exodus 8-2 randomly on a sign in the like by a producer.
Yes.
Like it's just up there. So out of just they go out of their way to do this, and Exodus 8-2 just says like, if you refuse to let them go, I shall release frogs upon you.
Yes.
It's not that there's some sort of weird sort of subtext to that. It's literally just feels like it is frogs. Let's do it. Like it's just, but it works so well for what it is, because obviously the plagues are a big part of the biblical telling of Moses and setting people free and forgiveness and things like that. So it makes total sense. But that one verse literally is just like, if you don't let it go, I'm gonna send frogs your way. That's it.
But what I agree. It's a very minimal text, but to me, I think it's like releasing people from their bondage.
Totally. I get it.
Right?
With that one phrase, it's just 8-2, 8-2, 8-2, all over the place. I'm an 82 birth, man. Yeah. So when I'm watching it the first time around, I'm like, fuck yeah, 82. Woohoo! 1982, all the way, baby.
We had to talk about it. It's great. What you got?
That's the last one I got.
Nice.
Go ahead. What do you got?
That's it. That's all I got.
Hey, there we go. Perfect. Here we go.
I'm going up there, I'm going to try it, I'm going to let the jury decide.
As we close out our Spotlight segment, we come to our final takes called The Verdict.
If we are to have faith and justice, we need only to believe in ourselves.
This is where Tim and I give our final verdicts after rewatching the film and decide whether or not the movie held up over the course of 2 decades.
Now you get out of here before I call the bailiff and have you thrown in jail.
This is The Verdict.
I said to hell with it, to hell with it.
All right, well, what can you say about Magnolia? Like, literally, what can you say? It is a contradiction, as it both defies description, and yet I could talk about it for hours on end. How can a movie about seemingly random people in LA be as enthralling as it is? I guess it just is. Like, it's a contradiction of a movie. As the movie unfolds from its relatively normal starting place, we take each step with the characters as their carefully controlled lives crumble around them. And eventually, as the ball starts rolling down the hill, we find ourselves happily along for the ride. In a film full of amazing performances, it is Cruise that offers up a truly legendary one as Frank T.J. Mackey. All aspects of Magnolia stand out, from the cast to the shot choices, the score, and the music. It is a prime example of what happens when a studio allows a filmmaker to make films. I hesitate to say that the film is Anderson's masterpiece, since There Will Be Blood also exists in the world, but the film is a masterpiece nonetheless. I have 5 out of 5.
Well, I'll be very concise. I'm not going to say ditto, but whatever, it was a mosaic tapestry of broken people navigating one day to unpack and have catharsis, trauma, heartbreak, and beauty. And I mentioned that because we didn't really talk much about like the whole cop and the daughter scene, like just so great.
Oh,
of these
it's
broken
a great little
people,
love story between 2 broken people. Yeah.
And the last scene is her looking at the camera and just being like, nice, like, this will be fine. Oh, so great.
We'll all be fine.
I actually think Magnolia is Paul Thomas Anderson's masterpiece. There Will Be Blood is a difference in kind, and I have no notes for that movie. It's incredible. But from a viewer, if I were to say which one I want to watch, this is the one I want. 4.75 out of 5. This movie's fucking incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Come on, not my beer.
With our reactions and verdicts to the movie out of the way, we move on to the reactions to our beers that we drank while rewatching our subject movie.
And if you want to have sex with a disgusting bad brewer with a terrible attitude,
this is where we take a look back at our beers and give our expert ratings for our drinking buddies.
Ugh, whatever. Hey, here's the truth.
This is Drinking Buddies.
Let's get weird.
We started the evening with, sorry, let me step back. Sorry.
Yeah, step back.
The theme that we put together.
Yeah. We is a stretch there, but all right, go ahead.
The royal we.
Yeah, okay.
I was looking, and I was surprised at how difficult it is to find collaboration beers.
Sure.
For something it hit me was like the scope of the movie, interconnected elements, the, just connections of all these characters, partnerships, what have you, collaborations. So I tried to find beers that were collaboration or collab,
sure,
as you like to be annoyed by. So first one we had for the evening was Distill Brewing out of Normal, Illinois, and Hanson Brothers Beer Company. Their Pink Moonlight Hazy IPA with peach, specifically calling that out. Not sure why they ever decided to call out having peach in there.
Makes me like it less because I love peach.
Right?
I didn't taste any peach.
There was no peach to be had.
No.
In this, I was like, just don't call it out. Just say hazy IPA. It actually was like a 3.25 for me. It was fine. It was a starting point. Okay, but again, if you're going to call it out like, yeah, here you go with some peach, you better effing have some peach flavor.
So the second beer didn't make that go up at all? Okay,
no.
Fine. I have a 3.75 out of 5, but I rated it before I realized it said peach on it.
Right.
Like I was kind of like, oh,
It's fine.
I enjoyed it. It was totally delicious. But I was thinking peach would be in the beer.
Yeah.
Like an idiot, like an asshole. I thought peach would be in the beer.
Why would you not have
with
that?
Peach on it? I still think it was pretty solid. I did not change my rating before or what you're about to get to.
And then we had out of the Minneapolis, we tasted a bit. Fair State out of Minneapolis in collaboration with Pint House, which I don't know what that is, but a different option.
Doesn't make me want to try them.
Right. They're What If Numbers Aren't Real double IPA.
Terrific name.
Right?
Terrific name.
Yes. With Mosaic. Hey.
Yeah.
From the collaboration and everything. Chinook and Simcoe hops. With Pilsner malt and rice flour.
Yeah.
So maybe that was the issue.
Maybe. Yeah.
I will at least give it a 3.
Sure.
Because I did not detest it, but I didn't mind it so much. The complexity was there. It just had a bit too much going on. And then you reacted
It was undrinkable
strongly.
for me. I have 2 out of 5 because I'll give him credit for making a beer.
Yeah. You showed up.
And like other people could have it. It wasn't like, oh my God, licking a Band-Aid. It kind of made me want to just like shit it out of my system. It was so bad.
Yeah, you're like, what?
It was not good. It was thick, sure. The flavor was off. The balance wasn't good.
No.
Like I thought there was banana in it when I first tried it, and like it just didn't have a good aftertaste. It will absolutely be on the worst beer for me. And quite frankly, I think 2 out of 5 might be the lowest I've ranked a beer in the 111 episodes now. Like it is this was offensively bad. And I don't know Pint House, but Fair State, you know better.
Yes.
Like you know better than this.
Yeah.
You've been on for 10 years. You cannot release shit like this.
Yeah.
And think, hey, people are going to like this.
Because we're Fair State.
Ugh.
And then actually had a threesome. Hey.
Not my first one this week.
From a collaboration standpoint, Belching Beaver out of San Diego with Craft Coast and Westbound Down.
Yeah, never heard of those two.
Right?
Yep.
They're just making up words.
Yeah.
They're West Bestern IPA, West Coast IPA, brewed with, another one, Mosaic, Simcoe Strata, and Idaho 7 hops. It was a 3.5 for me. It was fine. Just a kind of a nice little West Coast IPA. Not bad.
I have a 3.75, probably because of what came before. So I didn't change it, but I do think it probably tasted better. I was like, oh, this is at least a halfway decent beer.
Not bad.
So I had 3.75.
And then the last one we had was Equilibrium out of, I think, New York.
Yeah.
In collaboration with 450 North Brewing Company. Their Infinite Maze Double IPA. It does not list any of the options, but so be it. I had 3.75 for me. It was all right. I felt like a little bit of the bite was too much, but it was all right.
Yeah, not a huge advertisement for collabs on this one.
Weird juxtaposed with the masterpiece of the movie.
Yeah,
and the beers were like,
I had 3.75. I do think I actually liked it better as it went because I think initially I thought it would be more than what it was.
Yeah,
but it was good. 3.75 is totally drinkable. So and now, okay,
we're bringing back a long.
I don't have any water to wash this down.
I have some over here, but a segment we've had before.
It's been a long time. I was thinking about this when I bought the beer. It's been a long time since we did this. So
our Strange Brew.
Take off, you loser. You take off, you numb.
Segment from Hoosier Brewing Company, which is out of Greenwood, Indiana.
It better be Indiana. Yeah.
Their fruited sour ale. It's Fruit Fusion, Headless Horseman, pumpkin pie, soft serve ice cream. It is chunky, and it definitely looks like
it looks like melted
sour, like pumpkin pie beer. So we're gonna try it.
Smells
in here.
Like,
it smells profoundly.
It smells like eggnog almost. Like it kind of has like that weird.
It does actually, but the pumpkin comes through, like, or at least the nutmeg. Like,
okay,
all right, we're trying.
Here we go.
I don't know, man.
Okay, number one, this is substantially better than it smells. Like it doesn't smell good.
This is surprisingly delicious. I'm glad we're splitting it.
It is a sour.
The sour's coming through.
The sour comes through. Yeah, I will give it that. I don't like pumpkin. Well,
sure,
I mean,
but
I don't like what people claim pumpkin tastes like. I'll go on that rant again.
Yeah, it's all spicy.
I'll go on that rant.
Yeah, nutmeg.
I can bring back that rant from like 2 years ago at this point. It's not pumpkin.
For this time of year, though.
Look. Okay.
I'm pleasantly surprised.
I know, and this might be the best beer of the night, which is bad because I'll probably only have 2 more sips of this, and that's about it. But like,
yeah, I don't know. You could do much from this. Like,
there's like chunkiness to it too.
Yeah,
and I don't love chunks in my beer.
No,
the sour part is good. Yeah. I don't get a ton of pumpkin.
No
spice. There is a spicy,
but not
back
like
end to it.
Yeah,
it's not it's not forward where you're just like, oh my god, this tastes like cinnamon and nutmeg. You know,
I think I've hit my limit.
It's got like I can see where the soft serve comes in. It's got like creaminess
right?
to it. I mean, well played in terms of what you were trying to do.
It executed well.
I'm going to give it a 3.75 because I can't. It may be 3.5 because I can't finish this.
Yeah, I'd say about like 3.5 for like it did well. And you know what? It's good to introduce like a strange brew. We talked before offline. It's a bit of an anniversary for us.
Yeah, I guess we should talk about. There we go. We could have done that.
Right?
Yeah. We're not celebrating it as an anniversary episode.
4 years.
4 years
of doing this.
Oh, and I would never celebrate with pumpkin.
But it was a serendipitous time that it's not bad. I would say like 6.
It is not bad.
6 ounces of this, I can work with that.
Not bad as a good
I'm
way
not
of putting
finishing
it.
anymore.
But and I don't know if it's like the excessive milky creaminess to it.
The smell is super like soft servy vanilla.
I got nothing. Yeah.
It's a bit much. But
anyway, hey, happy anniversary.
Hey,
I guess.
Job.
Here we go.
It's been great.
Good job. Here we go.
The exciting quiz program 21.
Our final segment of the episode is Quiz Show.
I've stood on the shoulders of life, and I've never gotten down into the dirt to build.
Where in our research for our subject film, we find some interesting trivia nuggets that we hope will stump the other and possibly intrigue you.
This is not McCarthyism. You're not here to expose for the sake of exposure.
This is Quiz Show.
Well, evidently certain of the contestants were given the answers in advance.
Cheating on a quiz show. It's like plagiarizing a comic strip.
All right. I ended up with 3.
I only have 2.
Okay. So I was at 2, maybe 3, depending on if you knew the story or not. You know what I mean? So, okay. I guess, should I go first then?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. All right. So the woman on the other end of the line talking to Frank at one point is Janet. And he yells at Janet.
I think I recognize your voice.
Yes, you would, because she is actually voiced by a woman who would later co-star in another Anderson film that we have covered.
Yeah.
Punch Drunk Love.
God bless, I can see her face.
You can. She was also in what famous TV show?
She was in 24.
That's right.
I cannot.
You're not going to know her name.
Know her name.
You know. I'll give you. You know what? Here. You know.
She was in. Yeah, she was the sister. One of the sisters.
Yeah, I'm going to give you a ding on this.
Yes,
because her name is Mary Jane Rajskub. Rajskub.
No, we never got there.
You never would have gotten there.
No.
But you're picturing her, so I'm going to give you the ding on that one.
Absolutely knew the name. All right, so this is a really kind of dumb one, but I'm okay with it. In the United States, the Magnolia tree
God.
symbolizes something.
I hate this already.
What, pray tell, does it symbolize?
I have no idea.
Luck.
Really?
Right?
That's probably why I don't know.
But just the cool thing of like luck and stability, which is kind of oxymoronic, but whatever.
Yeah.
But like, I happened to like Google like Magnolia, and it was like, yes, it's predominant in the southeast parts of the country, but it symbolizes luck.
Fucking nerd.
For the movie. It's so great.
There
All
we
these
go.
random things.
All right, so Philip Baker Hall plays Jimmy Gator.
Sure.
Or the older version of him.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, another recognizable actor plays the younger version of Jimmy in the clips, very briefly.
Oh, God.
Yeah, you'd have to go back and look at him. You didn't even notice him.
Shit.
So the old clips with Quiz Kid Donnie Smith.
Yep.
This actor has a brief role in Anderson's previous film, The Boogie Nights. And in a bit of parody with our upcoming film, The Green Mile, he would later go on to star as a lead in another Frank Darabont film. That's a dead
dude.
blue.
Thomas Jane?
Yes, Thomas Jane
Shut
plays
up.
young. If you go back and look at him, you're like, yep.
Wow.
You never would have gotten there if I didn't give you
No
the clip.
way.
So
Yeah,
hold
the
on.
last one was the
You get your ding.
key piece.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's Thomas Jane plays
That's
the
a
young
deep cut.
Jimmy Gator.
Oh yeah, because he's with Mark Wahlberg in Boogie Nights. Is
Yeah,
there
that's
like
right.
coming?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So Melinda Dillon plays the wife and mother of two characters in this.
Mm-hmm.
Of Jimmy Gator, wife.
Yeah, and Claudia.
While starring in small roles on television throughout the 70s, she had her breakout role in what 1977 sci-fi masterpiece.
I'm just playing dings right now.
Yeah.
Because it's Close Encounters, of course.
Yes,
But
of
you're going to
course.
get me like Harry and the Hendersons
I know,
later on.
yeah.
Some sort of like weird thing.
Christmas
she's in.
Story.
Yeah, no, of course. It's one of our all-time favorite films.
I had to bring it in.
Of course. I thought about it too, but I was like, yeah.
It's too obvious. No,
Yep.
if you have some...
I got deep cuts.
But really, like,
Tim's
think about
talking about Magnolia's
No.
being for luck and then Close Encounters.
But think about that.
At least one of us took
Side
it
note,
seriously.
when we had that movie came out, like, the 30th anniversary of it?
Yeah.
I want to say...
in 77, it was 07 we went.
Or maybe the 40th. Who knows? It must have been the 40th.
2017, do you think we saw it?
I'm sure it was.
Okay, all right.
And it was re-released for like a weekend.
Yeah.
And you and I went to go see it in the
great.
theater, and it was just you and me.
Yeah. Proudly.
Proudly, like,
Yeah.
we are seeing this
We are
movie
better
in the
than you
theater,
people.
and it was so
Yeah,
incredible.
if they did it again, I'd go again.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
So good.
I mean, it's the type of movie that I own 2 versions of and you own 3
I have
versions
3.
of.
Exactly.
I don't know the difference between the two.
Masterpiece.
Love it.
Exactly.
All right, so we talked about the importance and awesomeness somewhat of the song Wise Up, which in my opinion, actually, Wise Up is the better song in this movie than Save Me.
I agree.
Save Me is great, but Wise Up,
Yes.
so you're like, why wasn't that nominated for an Oscar?
Yes.
Well, because it turns out it wasn't written for this movie. It was not written for this film. It was written by Amy Mann, but for a different movie.
Oh, God.
And I'm going to give you a good,
Yeah, you'll give me
helping you
there.
with your clues.
That's kind.
But for what 1996 pop culture defining Best Picture nominee was this song written for?
96.
Yep. I got one other dead giveaway hint that I can't
Pulp
give you.
Culture.
A pop culture defining.
Oh, my God. It's like, what is that sweet spot of 96?
Uh-huh. I can't give you more because it's just a dead giveaway at this point.
I'm like between Titanic and Braveheart.
English Patient and Braveheart. Oh, it was the same year as English Patient. Oops.
Sure. Yeah. But what would have been...
It wasn't English Patient.
No. It would have been a bit jarring. Which that movie totally holds up. But, God, I have no idea. Give me that. Yeah.
I'm going to give you a hint. You just got the wrong one. So, Tom Cruise stars in this movie.
Oh my God, Jerry Maguire.
Yeah, it was supposed to be when he's running to the airport or whatever. And in fact, I think I saw that there was some like Showtime exclusive version of this movie when it came out on video or whatever.
Oh my God.
And it's a piano-ish version of it when he's running through the airport at the end, like to go home or whatever, because he's wising up. Like it's not going to stop until you wise up. And so...
thank God Crow did not use it.
Yeah, Crow chose. He said like it's just too melodramatic for the moment or whatever it was. So they ended up having it for this movie.
Anderson's like, back pocket. I'll hold this for 3 years.
Yeah.
Nice. That's a fantastic Chris trivia. Nice. All right.
One of us did research. All right. So that brings us to the end of the episode. Be sure to find all of our previous episodes on your favorite streaming platforms and watch out for our upcoming happy hours on Fight Club and The Green Mile. Find us on the web via the metaverse of Facebook and 20years4beers.com. Watch out for some maybe new content if I decide to eventually put it out there. We want to say thank you for taking the time to listen and for clicking that like or subscribe button on your devices. This has been 20 Years 4 Beers. My name is Steve.
I'm Tim.
And thanks for listening.
Thanks.
It was thick, sure. The flavor was off. This is substantially better than it smells. Yeah.
It's a bit much.
There's like chunkiness to it too.
Sci-fi masterpiece.
I'm just playing games right now. Yeah, because it's Close Encounters, of course.
Yes,
But you're gonna get me like Harry and the Hendersons.
But
anyway, hey, happy anniversary!
Hey,
I
good
guess.
job.
Here we go.
It's been great.
Good job. Here we go.
Oh, good for you.